Welcome pilots, my name is Hybrid V and we are not back here to watch your takeoff and landings. No, instead we have a very special episode of takeoff and landings, and instead we're here at the Pyro Gateway coming towards us right now to watch Evocati testers go through the jump point instead. So one thing I get a lot of comments on from folks ever since 4.0 went into the Evocati branch was, hey, do you plan on watching players jump through the jump gate? And I said, yeah, why not? And here we are, 4.0 is in Evocati testers' hands, and thankfully COG has given us free reign to actually record our actual exploits in 4.0, so everybody has an opportunity to see what we are actually seeing in the early developments of 4.0, including the jump points. And as you can see here is the jump point to Pyro, and we're going to go ahead and watch players jump through the jump gate. Now, normally when I do my episodes of watching takeoff and landings, I give people a rating out of 10 based on how cinematic or their takeoff or landing is. And in this case, we're watching players jump through the jump gate, and I'm not entirely certain what the criteria would be to watch players go through a jump gate. Maybe I'll establish one later. If you have some of your own, let me know in the comments down below. We'll definitely check them out. For the most part, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be watching players go through the jump gate rather than exiting the jump gate. And the reason why, you'll learn about this a little bit later, and you can actually see somebody's opening the jump gate right now. Perfect timing, actually. And the reason why is because jump gate exit points are actually kind of scattershot all over the place, so it's very hard to identify where a player is actually going to come from. So you can see this player just entering the jump point right now. Boom, they are now connected with the jump point, and away they go. Of course, they are connecting to the other servers that control Pyro. I know, I always get comments, people are like, well, you're not exactly connecting to another server, it means something else. I know, I am saying this for brevity. If I go into a long-winded explanation about how the actual connecting process is when you're trying to connect to Pyro, I could be here for hours explaining it. But the reality is we're just connecting to a new service, right? And then that person's gonna make their way to Pyro, and that's all gonna be streamed in for them. So anyway, we're back now. It's good to be back. After CitizenCon, I unfortunately got sick on my flight back, so I had to take a pause on watching takeoff and landings and any of my other video content that involved me talking because my voice was completely shot. But now I'm back up and running again, and we're here to watch folks take this jump point. You can see there's a hammerhead. I can't tell if that hammerhead is actually crewed or not, but it's just kind of floating there. So anyway, you see this jump point is open. Any players nearby that want to actually get into this jump point, all they have to do is turn on their drive, align and tune, and then they'll get sucked in right away and be on their way to Pyro. Now, of course, I don't see anybody else here. These ships here potentially are abandoned, so that's probably why they're sitting there. Let me go ahead and adjust the camera a little bit and get a better view here. There we go. And what I'll do here is I will cut the cameras here like I normally do for my takeoff and landing videos. And we'll actually wait for, actually we may not need to. Okay, so you see my radar on the bottom here, right? I see the two radar contacts. I see the hammerhead. And I also see somebody else on approach here. It's actually off to my right and behind me. Yeah, so that's the hammerhead right there. You can see on the top right of the screen there shows the hammerhead. If I select this contact, it appears we have a Zeus on approach as well as a Corsair. So yeah, so that hammerhead looks to be unmanned, but there is a Zeus on approach. Let's take a look. And also a Corsair. There's the Corsair down below. All right, let's see what they do. Now, the gate is open only for a few minutes before it eventually closes. There we go. It is now closed. So the next person coming in will have to open it themselves. It's very simple. You turn on your drive, you align with the jump point, then you begin the tuning process. Once tuning is complete, you hit left click, and that will actually, there you go, fire off from your jump drive and open the gate, as you see there. Once the gate is fully opened, you will be automatically sucked in. So let's see both these players here that Zeus and Corsair gets. There goes the Corsair, away they go. And that's all completely automatic. You see how fast they go. It's insane. You can also see how small the Corsair looks as they go through the jump point. It's a very interesting effect COG have pulled off here, because when you actually go through the jump point, it actually seems like the jump point is smaller once you're inside it. So there's definitely like this weird kind of relative, weird change that goes on. Your perspective is completely different than the perspective of what the observer, in my case here, me being an observer, sees. So you can see this player in the Zeus here is probably tuning themselves, so they should get shot in after a certain period of time, assuming they have their drive actually on. I can see their shields coming back up. Maybe they're still trying to figure out the process of actually tuning themselves and getting in there. A lot of Evocati are still a little bit new to this, because not every Evocati is immediately hopping in to try out these builds. Everybody's got a normal life. So not everybody immediately understands the process of actually jumping into the jump gate. Let me actually scan this hammerhead because I want to see if this is actually owned by anybody. And I don't think it is. But anyway, let me go ahead and cut the cameras here, and we'll wait for this Zeus to actually take off here. I just want to be sure that I get the right angle here, because this... Oh, no, he's actually tuning. I was going to cut the cameras here, but it looks like he's tuning. He might actually get in. He's going to have to hurry, because this gate is probably going to close very soon here. So, looks like they're tuned. And once they're automatically tuned, it should automatically pull them straight in, unless they actually disengage their drive or they cancel the process. So, let's see. I hear the actual sound, so that means the gate is probably closing here. The sound's actually coming back. That means the gate is now going to close here shortly, and does not look like the Zeus actually was able to get in time. So they are going to have to manually open the gate, and there it goes. And away it goes. Looks like CIG needs to polish the closing animation a little bit more. The opening animation is fantastic. I still think they need to really tighten the closing animation a little bit. And there you go. See that Zeus there getting pushed back. Okay, and the Zeus is now retuning, and they are going... Oh, we have a lightning also on approach here. This lightning looks to be going through the jump point. Looks like they are tuning as well. Let's see which person actually opens the jump gate. Remember, as long as you are tuned, if somebody opens the jump gate, you will also eventually get sucked into. The process required is you just need to be tuned for it. And once the gate is open, everything is completely automated. At that point, you will be drawn in, and then at that point, once you're actually in the tunnel, you then have control over your ship once more. So we have both ships tuned. Let's see who opens the gate. Will it be the lightning, or will it be the actual Zeus? Let's see here. Give it a little bit here. Could be these folks don't actually know how to do it. Again, not everybody knows the process here. Again, you just tune, you align, you tune. Oh, there we go. There goes the shot out, and popping the cork. And we are now open, and we should see both pilots get drawn in once we are fully open. Let's see an immediate vortice right in the beginning there. The vortices actually in the jump point are completely randomly generated. So each path is kind of relatively the same. There's multiple paths, obviously. Look at them, very good. Oh, they're going to both go under the vortice. 1 and 2, slight, almost little contact with that immediate vortice there, but still that Zeus looked like it made a little bit light contact with that first vortice, but still fantastic movement through it. But yeah, so there is a set amount of tunnels. There can be anywhere between 5 to 10 variations of tunnels. I don't know the exact number, but there's a set amount of tunnels that exist. I don't know if they're segmented and randomized, but I do know that there are set exit points for each of the tunnels. And I do know that the vortices that are inside the tunnels are completely random. So yeah, that always ensures that every time you go through the jump point, it's never quite the same every time you go through. So I quite enjoy that, actually. But anyway, things have calmed down here. So let's go ahead and cut the cameras and wait for the next customer to arrive. All right, we have what appears to be a big chonker coming here. Is that like a hammerhead? The LODs are a little bit strange here. Okay, you see the actual jump gate has now closed. So this newcomer here is going to have to open it up by hand, but let's readjust the camera here and get a better angle. There we go. And let's see on radar who we got here. Clicky, and we have, no, it's a 600i actually. It says Corvette on the MFD. I'm looking at the top right MFD cast. I'm not looking at the MFD. The MFD always shows old information. That stuff definitely still needs to be updated. And you can see the 600 is now in position, and they are going to have to actually open the jump point here. So they're gonna have to turn on their drive, align, tune, and then pop the cork, and then once the gate's open, they will get drawn right in. It's a very simple process here. So let's see how they end up managing that. Looks like we got some brand newcomers here, and we have what appears to be an MSR and another 600i on approach. 600i Executive Edition. Ooh, super fancy. All right, let's see. So far, the other 600i has not popped the cork. You can actually see that red down there below where the MSR went across. That's actually the exit point on this side of the jump point. It's technically supposed to be culled out. You're not supposed to see it, but there is a visual bug currently in this build. Let's see. 600i is now tuning themselves up. Let's see who pops the cork. Is it going to be the 600? Is it going to be the MSR? Let's see who does it here, folks. Give it a second. It should be ready to go. Remember, you just left click to pop it open. There we go. MSR firing the shot off, and gate is opening. Listen to the sounds. Like the gaping maw of a monster, and away they go to new lands. In this case, Pyro. Off they go at high speeds. Let's see how they do. Entry level MSR is connected. 600R is connected. Immediate vortice in the beginning. Let's see where the MSR goes. The MSR goes right into the actual vortice. Whoops! And then the 600I gets around a slight contact with the vortice, so that they have that blind right turn, and then that vortice there definitely kind of makes it a little bit tricky getting around there. So we had some contact. Oh, there goes the other 600I zooming past. And let's see what they do. They are now connected into the actual wormhole, and now they have control. They're taking a hard right hug. Are they going to go around the vortice? Let's see what they do. No, they're going to actually end up making some contact with the vortice. Seems like that blind right turn with that vortice there in the immediate beginning is giving some people a little bit of trouble there. And it can be because when you get pulled in, once you're in the mouth of it, you have control over it, and some people don't realize they have control, so the ship just ends up drifting. If you remember, once you have control over your ship, after you go through the mouth of it, you then need to make sure that you actually are maneuvering at that point, because the ship isn't under your control and it will just continue going in a straight line. You have to make sure you're actually maneuvering your nose and you're actually doing your proper strafe inputs as you're going in. All right, looking good. I don't see anybody else at least immediately lining up here. I think I might cut the cameras and let's find out who our next customer is going to be. Okay, we have a Zeus on approach. Now the actual jump gate has closed, so this Zeus is going to have to pop the cork here. So let's see how they handle it. Getting a little bit close, you can see those like red kind of almost flame-like effect. That means that they are getting too close to the actual jump gate, so they're going to get pushed back a little bit. There we go. Firing off the shot, opening up the jump gate though. And let's watch them get drawn. I can see a vortice immediately spawning, multiple vortices right at the beginning of there. Look at that. Away they go, super fast into it. And they are now connected with the jump gate. And let's see where they go. Are they going to go above or below? They're going to go below. And looking good. Look how tiny the Zeus looks as it goes through there. Now, folks, if you watched my previous video or actually go through a jump point myself, you can actually tell that the actual jump point it feels small. It feels very tight when you're in it. But then as you saw there, a Zeus went in there and that Zeus looks incredibly tiny. So there's this interesting perspective shift when you see somebody going through the actual jump point. It's a very interesting detail that you only notice if you actually watch people go through it. All right, things are looking calm here. Let's see what we get next. We have a Constellation opening up the jump gate here. A little bit of frame drop here. Apologies, folks. And away it goes. Look how fast that Constellation rockets forward, and they are now connected with the jump point, going in a straight line. Are they going to begin their maneuvers here? They seem to be going straight. There we go. And we can see another ship entering. I'm not quite sure what that is. That might be, I believe, a Peregrine. It has kind of that wedge shape. There we go. It's connected with the jump gate now, and they are maneuvering. They're doing a barrel roll, but they're kind of going in a straight line. This is it. They're just kind of rolling, and out of the jump point they go. They seem to have collided with the actual edges of the wormhole inside there. Very strange. They just kind of just did a barrel roll. Maybe their game crashed. I don't know. Any number of things could have happened there. So yeah, it's definitely very interesting. I don't see anybody on radar, so we'll wait for someone else to approach. Okay, it looks like the gate is about to close here, the jump point. Excuse me while I adjust the camera here, but we do have a Zeus Clipper tuning themselves up. They're going to have to reopen this jump gate, unfortunately, because it is just closed right now. But they do have themselves tuned up here. Nope, they stopped. They're probably going to have to re-enable their drive again. There we go, enable the drive. Should be all tuned up now, and they can go ahead and pop the cork once more. You see those beautiful GPU particles flying out there, and then boom, we are now open. Let's see how this Zeus does on approach. Gate is now opened, and away they go. No vortices immediately the entry, and there we go, zooming off. And they are now going, and connected. There they are, a little bit of lag, but they are connected. You can see a little vortice around the corner there. Let's see, are they gonna go under, over? It's a little hard to see. Hopefully YouTube does not mess up the actual visuals so you guys can clearly see that they went above the vortice on the right side there. Very, very nice. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead. And I don't see anybody else on radar here, so we'll go ahead and cut the cameras and find out who we get next. This Carrack has been fighting the wormhole here back and forth for quite a bit now, constantly getting pushed back and forth as they, for some reason, just belligerently keep trying to push their way into the wormhole. They should, you know, align themselves, tune, and then pop the cork on their own. So maybe that's what they're trying to do here. It's kind of hard to see the tuning process while they're sitting here just bouncing back and forth off of the jump point. So let's see what they do here. They've been doing this for quite a bit. Oh, there we go. And they fire the cork opener. We are good to go. Let's leave the maw open up. Let's see how fast that Carrack gets drawn in. They're coming at a sharp angle, which can be a little bit tricky. You got to make sure you come in straight if you can. Yeah, they're going to have to nose up pretty hard as they come in. There we go. now connected, and away they go. You guys, look how tiny the Carrack looks inside that thing. And then when you actually fly the Carrack, it is incredibly claustrophobic when you're actually inside it. Again, a very interesting perspective shift you have here. It's a very cool effect, actually. Quite enjoy it. All right, things look quiet. I don't see anybody coming over, so let's see what we get next. All right, we have a Freelancer on approach. Now, I'm flying the MSR, which has fantastic range. There's also the Freelancer DUR, and you have the ES. You can see the jump point about to be opened up here. And one interesting thing I would like to note for everybody who's interested in any type of exploration ships, small exploration ships actually can't go as far as you might think in Pyro. It's a quite interesting effect. There goes the Freelancer shooting in, and they are now connected with the jump point. You can see there's like a little bit lag there, kind of a little bit of jankiness. That's how you know they're connected with the jump point, and away they go. That tiny little dot was the Freelancer as it moved away. Very, very cool. But yeah, so exploration ships unfortunately don't have the range you might think. So for example, an actual Zeus ES, despite it being an exploration ship, you can only get to probably the farthest planet in the actual system of Pyro. But then you only have enough quantum field to actually get to, say, Checkmate Station or any of the other floating stations. And right now, currently, you can't refuel at that stations, either due to it being a bug or maybe it's intentional. I'm not entirely certain. And you can see this Zeus getting thrown in also, speaking of which, an ES. Zeus, let's see, now they are connected and they are in full control, and away they go. They're using strafe controls to the left side there. Hopefully, folks, you can see it as they go in. I know YouTube's compression murders the quality of it. Hopefully you can see that little dot as they fly in, but it's a very, very cool effect. But like I said, folks, yeah, if you take, for example, an ES, which is designed for exploration, yeah, it can go further than the Clipper, but you can only really get to the farthest points of Pyro, and then at that point you really need to refuel because you are not going to be able to come back to Stanton. You can't do it. You just don't have the fuel for it. So it does bring into question how exploration ships currently are designed, because right now, currently in Pyro, if you want to be able to visit at least one planet and then make another trip back, all without having to refuel, you're going to need a Carrack or some big ship like a Caterpillar. Look, you see this other Zeus just getting launched in. Look how fast they go. They're already tuned immediately. Let's see, they are now connected and in full control of their ship, and away they go. And around the bend, looks like no drama whatsoever there, and the gate has now closed. Wow, really good timing there. You can actually just get completely rejected. You can get pulled in right before the gate actually closes, and it will actually reject you. The gate will immediately close even as you're in the middle of getting pulled in. I've had that happen to me before. It's actually very interesting. All right, I'm going to continue this thought, but right now, currently, I don't want to waste too much footage. I want to wait for somebody else to come in. So let's go ahead and cut the cameras here and wait for our next customer. All right, we have a large ship on approach. Looks to be a Caterpillar. I can recognize that giant tweaky design anywhere. But yes, like I was saying, folks, if you want to make a exploration trip, even just a solo trip, and you want to be able to make your way to Pyro, do your exploration, whatever it is you want to do, and then make the jump back home to Stanton, you can't do it in a Zeus, not without having to actually refuel. We have the Carrack and we have a Caterpillar, excuse me, not speaking properly here, a Caterpillar on lineup approach here. Looks like the actual Carrack was rejected there. Let's see, this Caterpillar looks to be probably tuning themselves. So yeah, this does bring into question the point of smaller exploration vessels, because like I said, the ES, the Zeus ES, and even the Freelancer DUR, like they're touted as having extra fuel tanks to go longer range. And while they can go longer range to a larger planet or one of the moons, you only can do it in a one-way trip. And the localized stations, you can't, at least right now, currently, like I said, you can't refuel there, either due to it being a bug or it actually being a feature. I'm not entirely certain. CIG's kind of gone back and forth on the idea of you being able to refuel anywhere out in Pyro. They said, yeah, you can refuel at these stations, or they've let it in certain playtests allow you to refuel, but then at the same time, they've said in the past that Pyro's not going to have a very well-built infrastructure to allow you to refuel, so you may have to rely on other players fueling you up. So this does call into question the actual usefulness of exploration vessels smaller than a Carrack or any large vessel. If you're in a cargo ship, for example, that Caterpillar up ahead can make all the jumps in Pyro easily and still have fuel to get back. The Carrack obviously can do it as well too. The Carrack can do it just hands down the easiest. It can get anywhere, and I would expect the Carrack to be able to do it. It's an exploration vessel. It's capable of doing it. The Caterpillar, sure, I mean, it's a huge ship, so it has a huge tank, but smaller exploration vessels can't really do a whole lot. You're kind of screwed if you take one over there. And let's see what we got here. We have what it looks to be a RAFT. Ooh, RAFT on approach. Now, I've tried the RAFT in a previous build and it was bugged. I couldn't actually get it to go through the jump point. I actually couldn't even get it to open the jump point. I haven't actually tested it in this current build. Maybe CIG has fixed it. I'm not entirely certain. We will find out here shortly. Let's see if somebody's going to pop the cork here. Everybody seems to be kind of meandering. Like I said, not every tester here is fully aware of how they're supposed to open the jump point. Some are playing this build for the first time, despite this build being online for us for quite a while now. A few builds so far has gone over and people have had the opportunity to try it themselves, but not everybody has had the opportunity to just hop in every day. Like, for example, I have. I'm almost in this build every day, learning new things, practicing the jump points, and also exploring Pyro. So not everybody knows how to do it. But yeah, so people could be messing with their keybinds or trying to figure things out, or maybe trying to ask other people how they actually do this process here. You can see the actual the RAFT getting bounced back here as they get a little too close. Remember that effect there, that kind of fire effect means you're getting a little too close and you will eventually get bounced back. And it's very, you gotta be cautious of that because, like I said, oh, there you go, popping the cork, and here we go, jumping open. The jump gate is now open, and a little bit of frame stalling there. Apologies, folks. That's just kind of what happens when the gate opens right now. There we go, and away the RAFT is on its way now, connected, and away they go. So it looks like CG did fix the RAFT, or at least the RAFT is working for that pilot. Like I said, in my personal experience, the RAFT didn't work, which was annoying because I wanted to do my own little bit of trading to see if I can trade in between both. You can see the Carrack getting pushed back. I think the Carrack pilot probably doesn't realize they need to actually be tuned and aligned and have their actual drive enabled. Again, you just activate your quantum drive and that does everything for you at that point. I don't think this Carrack pilot is aware of that process. All right, we have a Zeus on approach. They are already tuning. You can see those GPU particles coming off of the hull of the ship. So any minute now, they will probably be popping the cork here. There is that Carrack we saw earlier, but that Carrack is still floundering. They keep getting pushed back, and it seems like they're not entirely certain they know what they're trying to do. They're not certain what they're supposed to do. There we go, popping the cork here and opening the gate. Loving the sound design of that. Never gets old for me. There we go, and away they are. Let's see how they connect to it. And solid connection, and away they go, a little bit close to the corner as they approach. And looks like that pilot is rolling into the turn, and ooh, they just kind of disappeared. I feel like they just kind of went straight into the wall. Maybe they weren't aware that they were actually connected, and they just kind of barreled out of the actual warp gate. Oh, here comes the Carrack again. This is probably the third or fourth time. I don't know if I'm going to cut out most of their attempts, but this is like the third or fourth time they try to enter the gate. And again, I don't think they're aware that they just need to have their drive enabled. Also, if you're in nav flight mode, it also will not tune you to the actual jump gate. And it could be this pilot actually is in nav flight. They could have their drive on, but they're in nav flight, so they're not engaging any of the tuning processes. So again, they get slingshot back. So this pilot's probably scratching their head like, why is this not working? Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to cut the cameras here because I don't see anybody on radar. So let's go ahead and wait for the next customer. All right, we have a Spirit on approach, upside down approach. You can see that exit point for Stanton down there. Once again, we'll talk about that later. I'll show you guys what the exit points look like because they're very cool. But yeah, so this one looks like I just heard the gate close here. So this pilot's going to have to tune and they're going to have to open the gate on their own. Looking good so far. Looks like they're tuned. Let's see if they're going to do their shot here. Give them a second here. Could take a little bit. Again, some folks are not 100% certain what they're supposed to do, so sometimes the process takes a little bit of time. And there they go. Finally, they did their shot into the actual jump point, and we are now opening up. And the jump point is now fully stabilized, and away they go. It goes the Carrack trying it once more again. Away the Spirit goes. Oh, the Carrack is finally going in. Looks like the Carrack finally figured things out here. Oh, the Spirit is just going a straight line. Control your ship. There you go. You both are connected. There we go. Let's see. Are they going to go under that vortice? Yes, they are both going to go under the vortice. Very cool. So we have that blind right turn, and then we have an immediate vortice there. Again, folks, the vortices are all completely randomly generated. You can get some that are just insanely crowded with vortices as you come in, and sometimes you get others that are not actually as crowded. It's actually a very easy, you know, very basic flight through. You don't get too much challenge, and other times it is just an obstacle course. It's really cool. So let's see, we got potentially a clipper. I think that might be, not entirely certain, I think that might be a clipper ready for approach here, and away they go, zooming through. Because again, the entire process is completely automated. They are connected. Are they going to go under or over that vortice, and instead they are gonna go, it looks like they're gonna clip the side of the vortice. They were kind of a little bit hesitant on which direction they wanted to go. They weren't certain if they wanted to go under or over, and they ended up clipping the side of it. Luckily, it doesn't look like it ripped them out of travel, so that is good. And we have another Zeus. Zeus is very popular in this build. A lot of people want to go exploring with the Zeus, but like I said, it does have a drawback. If you decide to use it, you can only visit possibly one location before you don't maybe even have enough fuel to come back home to refuel. So that's a major issue, and I do hope CIG does plan on looking at it. Away they go, connected to the actual jump point. Let's see, are they going to get under or over the vortices? Again, folks, I don't know if you can see this very clearly. It looks like they went under the vortice, and there goes the jump point, now closed. That tunnel needs to be reopened once more again. But yeah, so exploration vessels do kind of get the short end of the stick depending on their size. I do hope CIG maybe potentially looks at that. But again, it really comes down to how they plan on doing infrastructure in Pyro. Right now, like I said, I say this over and over again because I want to be very careful of how I word things here, is that currently right now you can't refuel at any of the major stations, either because it's a bug or maybe that's intentional. I don't know. I know many players have a big debate over this, over whether there should be any level of infrastructure that allows you to refuel. Some players think there shouldn't be, and some players think there should be. And currently right now, because there is no ability to refuel anywhere in Pyro, like I said, exploration ships, especially smaller exploration ships in particular, get really badly shafted as a result. You just can't use them to their maximum potential. They're just not as independent as you would like them to be. All right, jump point is opening up here. Let's see what we've got here. Could be that 600i we saw earlier. That guy was taking a very long time to do anything. Maybe they're getting their keybind settled and away they go. Don't know, but like I said, sometimes people just take a very long time getting them set up for the jump point, and they are now connected and away they go, looking good. A little bit close to the edge there. You can see a little bit of splash along the edges there, but still a very clean entryway. Like I said, again, folks, if you have any ideas on maybe how I could assign points to people entering this, let me know. I don't really think it's necessary, like how we do the takeoff and landings, but I mean, if any of you can come up with cool ideas, I mean, let me know. We'll see how it goes, right? Okay, we have an Avenger Titan popping the cork here. I have actually done a Pyro run with the Avenger Titan. It's a very fun ship to do it in. It's a very, very cool ship that you can just do a quick run through the Stanton Gateway and get straight to the first station that's actually on the other side. You can grab some cargo there and make your way back. And it looks like they are now connected to it. Let's see, there's a vortice right at the beginning. Are they going to go under or over? It looks like they are going under it. Yep, under it. Very, very nice approach. Two vortices, actually. You can see there's that right bend, and then there's an immediate vortice, and then right behind it, there's another vortice there. So that's actually a little bit of a challenging approach, and it looks like they handled it very, very competently. Very nice. All right, let's move on. Okay, we have a caterpillar on approach. So speaking about the exploration side of things, I actually personally, I'm on the side that CIG should not allow any type of refueling over there. Maybe it's like hidden behind reputation or whatever, and away they go. Look how fast that caterpillar gets drawn in. Immediate vortice right at the beginning and that blind turn. Let's see where that caterpillar goes. Is it going to go up or under? Looks like they're going to try to go under and around. Are they turning? They're not turning. Oh, a little bit of lag. Okay, cool. Looks like they got around it. Looks like it was a little bit of a delay there, but they finally were able to get under control and get around that vortice. But anyway, back to what I was saying before, folks. Yeah, I would expect that the Pyro system doesn't have any infrastructure for refueling, unless, say, you have a high reputation with one of the gangs there. That would be a cool feature. I don't believe that's going to be immediately in 4.0's release. My guess is they're probably going to allow refueling at the stations. It's just a bug that they don't work with right now currently. Zeus opening up the jump point, and we are now fully open and awaiting for pull-in. Let's see how they do. Vroom, away they go, and they are now connected and in full control, and looks like they're just going in a straight line. Currently, are they going to maneuver? It looks like they're going in a straight line. Watch the turn, and ooh, that looked a little nasty. It looked like they just went straight up into the wall there. Maybe they weren't aware that they had control as they went in. All right, I'm going to stop interrupting myself and actually finish my point there. So yes, I would expect them in the initial release of 4.0 to have the ability to refill. Maybe later they'll take that away and make it a reputation-based system. But beyond that, let's actually go to Pyro ourselves, because we're sitting here staring at the jump point. Let's actually get in ourselves here. So we are now tuned and ready to go. Tuning is complete. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to left click here to open the jump point, and let's get things underway here, folks. The MSR is going to be a fantastic ship for exploring Pyro. It has a fantastic amount of quantum fuel, It has room for other players as well as you can carry a vehicle with it. It's going to be one of the probably better vehicles for actually exploring Pyro. It's one of my favorites for sure. All right, point is open now, and away we go, getting sucked in. Let's go ahead and get ourselves connected. We are now in the jump point and in full control. We have an immediate right turn with a vortice right there, so let's go under it. Let's go ahead and maneuver. And yes, folks, all the same basic flight principles exist here. You just don't have to engage your throttle. So if you need to pitch up or whatever, remember you roll into your actual pitch, so that way you have a little bit more control. So for example, if I need to pull hard on the stick, I just roll and then nose up and make sure that my bottom thrusters are giving me a little bit extra control in making that maneuver. So away we go here, and don't forget you do have strafe controls as well in here too. One thing that is very important for actually surviving the jump point, if you feel like when you first try this it's a little bit of a struggle, you see that little indicator in the center of the screen that's moving around? That's my vector indicator. That is telling me the direction of travel my ship is currently moving in, and all I'm doing is I'm pointing it where I want my ship to go. Whether I use my strafe controls or I'm actually pitching up or down, it doesn't matter. Whether you're using mouse or joystick, you want to make sure that your TVI, true vector indicator, is actually pointed in where you want to go. Colloquially, in the real world, we call this the meatball. Actual pilots call that vector indicator the meatball. So if you want to use that term, we can use that as well. But yeah, so that is going to be where I'm going to be aiming my ship at. So if I need to get around these vortices, I'm going to point them either to the left or right side of that vortice, or above or below. It depends on where it is. All right, we are now at the halfway point here. Music is now changing, so we are now halfway through the jump here. You can see the coloration is now changed, showing the pyro colors here. Let's get around these two vortices as we make our approach here. And the music is now subtly shifting. We're going to probably get a little bit of frame drops here as we are going to be loading in Pyro, at least currently right now. Here we go. Here's the frame drops. Apologies, folks. This is what happens when you are making your way to Pyro. We are now streaming in Pyro, so you can see that there was a little bit of lag there, and now the music is now shifting. So now we have new dynamic music when you're now loaded into Pyro here. So we're on approaches to get around some of these vortices here. There we go, nice and easy. Now the MSR is a little bit big. Like you can see here, folks, look how claustrophobic we are here, right? You see how it feels very tight, but you saw when you saw other players going into the actual jump point, they look tiny in comparison. So there's just this weird perspective shift. And I think it's a really, really cool effect. I would love other things. I would love them to do like red shifting as the players go in or something like that, or maybe some spaghettification. I think that would be really cool. I wonder if they've ever thought about that in the drawing board. But either way, here we go, folks. We are now exiting the jump point, and boom, out we go through a rock apparently. Luckily, we didn't explode, so there's a little bit of leeway there, and we are coming in at Mach Chicken, so we got to be careful here. I may even actually switch back to SCM just so I slow down a little bit faster, using my ping as kind of a de facto night vision here, just so I know what's in front of me. Let's go ahead and slow down. And here we are at the Stanton Gateway Station. Now, you can't actually refuel here. Again, I don't know if it's because it's a bug or whatever, but it is an issue that currently plagues us right now. So if you do run out of quantum fuel, you're kind of screwed in Pyro, which to be expected. But again, I think it's probably more to do with a bug rather than a feature. It's going to be interesting when we get it in our hands and it's finally released. I would like to see what CAG decides to do with it. And you can see those two pylons over there, those bright pylons. That's the actual jump point to get back over to Stanton. Now, I could take the actual jump point right now, but what will happen, there's a current bug with this build where my actual game will just lock up when I try to open the jump gate. So there's kind of an annoying issue with that. So hopefully in the next build that I get to play here, it will have been fixed, and hopefully obviously by the time it gets into your all hands, it will also be addressed. But one thing I want to show you, you see off to the right, you see those trails? That's actually the tunnels that are coming from the jump point. So those are the actual exit points over here. Now this in its final release is not going to actually show up. You're never going to actually see this. This is all these GPU particles are supposed to be culled out. But right now, currently in this build, there's a bug where you can actually get to the actual tunnels themselves and at least see the exit points and see the actual trails that are in there. So you can actually see where people actually exit out from. As you can see here, it trails off, and you can see that red there, that's the actual exit point for the jump point. Let's actually go ahead and make our way, because I want to show you guys, this is actually really, really cool. This is kind of a little bit of behind the scenes, right? So again, like I said, normally all this stuff here gets culled out, so you're never going to actually see this in the final release, but it's kind of cool to take a peek behind the curtain and see how this is actually designed. Let's go ahead and get closer. Let's switch over to nav and make our way over so you guys can see. You You can see there's multiple trails that lead this way. There's like about 3, maybe 4 trails that head this way. So we know that there's about three exits here, maybe even more, right? As the point is opened, one gets picked randomly, and then the vortices inside are randomly generated. And then you just travel along with whoever's with you, and you make your way, and eventually you'll come out one of these exits here. So you see this red kind of portal looking here. That's one of the exits here, right? We have a second one off to the right. A third one just popped up below, right? So we have 3 exit points here. And of course, nothing happens as I sit here. And that is entirely because these are supposed to be culled out. And there's a 4th one that just popped up. So they're not supposed to actually show up here. So you can see that the exit point is not actually where the entry point is. And it's the same for the Stanton side, right? I know a lot of people have a little bit of anxiety about how people would be camping the actual exits for these jump points. And you can see they're not where the actual exits are. And CIG can, if they want to, scattershot them all over different parts of this area. So you would never know where a player comes in. For example, if I stood here, and this is the reason why, like I said at the beginning, why I'm not watching players actually enter. Oh, you can hear that sound. That's actually a player exiting the actual jump point. You can see them getting shot out at high speed, right? Hopefully I'll go back in the edit so you guys can hear that part. So you guys can hear what it sounds like when someone's exiting the jump point. You can hear that there's a unique sound that plays when a player exits, and you can see that they get shot out at insanely high speeds, and as well as the ability for CIG to scatter where the actual endpoints are. I mean, theoretically, it's going to be very hard for anybody to actually camp this point. Of course, anybody could probably sit here maybe with like a mantis or something like that and make life difficult, but you don't know where people are going to be exiting from. You don't know any of the tunnels where they're going to be ended, because the tunnels I just showed you there might not be the final product we get when 4.0 releases, right? We could end up having different tunnel exiting points by the time it releases to 4.0, because CIG is always changing things, and by the time we actually give our feedback here, it may have changed drastically. Maybe the endpoints are scattered even more than you saw here. So players could potentially learn where the exit points are, but there's just no way you're going to identify where a player is actually going to exit from. So I think the fears people had of enemies, you know, camping, like pirates camping the exit points, is kind of a little bit, it's mitigated by this kind of unknown figure. It's kind of hard for players to really give chase to somebody exiting those points just because of how scattershot it is. Now, on the other side of Stanton, in my experience, having looked at the Stanton side of things, it does seem like that one is a little bit more centralized, so there's a little bit more of an argument there. But again, like I said, by the time it actually gets into everybody's hands, that could be completely different. From what I'm seeing here now, it is not entirely going to be the final product, so we'll see how things change out. And of course, if CIG doesn't like how things turn out, maybe they don't like that it is too easy to camp things, or maybe they want it to be a little bit easier to camp the exits. Of course, they may change things. We'll see. But anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed my little special video watching takeoff and landings here. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my camera here to get a good angle. I do want to see if I can catch more people exiting, but I've done this in the past, and it is not easy catching people exiting. At most, I will get their trail like you saw earlier, but it's very hard to really capture somebody like cleanly exiting the jump point. So that's why I'm not necessarily doing it for this video. I'll try it in a subsequent video. I'll try to get some better ones and see if I can get better angles for y'all. If I can, we'll see. I mean, it's a long process trying to set this up. But anyway, folks, if you did enjoy my video watching people using the jump points in 4.0, please leave a like, as it really does help out the channel. And of course, if you want to watch more videos like this and much more down the line, be sure to subscribe as well. And let me know in the comments below what you would like to see for 4.0 as well. What's your favorite feature? Are you enjoying the idea of just traveling to Pyro through the jump points? Are you more interested in, say, the base building mechanics? That is not, I don't believe, going to necessarily come in a 4.0. I think it's going to be coming in a 4.x patch, but the subsequent, you know, bones that have been shown both at CitizenCon, and of course the stuff that we're seeing in subsequent, you know, Spectrum posts, as well as probably going to be seeing in a lot of ISEs and stuff, that got you interested in. What else do you have that is really got you excited? Are you excited for IAE? Let me know, folks, down below. Anyway, folks, until next time, fly safe, and I'll see you all in the black.